Hello and welcome to today's video, and in today's video we're going to be discussing some problems I've had with my K11 Micra. Before we start, in the top right hand corner or left hand corner, I can't remember what corner it appears in, is a link to another YouTuber's video which covers this topic but also gave me a really good insight in what systems I should be checking, and also gives good insight onto some of the wiring diagrams that you may need to refer to. Check it out, it really does help you get started with this particular issue. So, on to the issue. My K11 has started exhibiting some symptoms whereby it will not start. So you'll turn it over, it will crank, but it won't appear to start. Also, I've noticed that there doesn't seem to be any fuel entering the cylinders, so the injectors seem to be inactive, but there is a spark. So, the first thing I did, and the first thing I suspected, which I actually checked out it was actually fine, was the crank angle sensor. So I measured for a break-in resistance across that. There was no break-in resistance, so the sensor is absolutely fine. Also, the rev counter does seem to pulse when you're turning the car over, which does seem to point to that being absolutely fine as well. First thing I did in that case was to pull out the main system relay. You can see it in the picture being pointed to. That's the main system relay, and I wanted to test that relay, so I connected a couple of fly leads to the positive and negative terminals on the battery, tested the relay, made sure that it made a clicking sound. The relay next to it is actually for the radiator fans, so you can substitute that relay, as it's the same type of relay, to make sure that there's not a relay issue. The next thing I did was to pull the main system fuse. It's a 30 amp fuse and is pointed to in the picture above. I turned the ignition position to position 2, and I placed my multimeter across both terminals, and I measured a steady 12 volts coming across that circuit, so there's obviously no problems with voltage getting to the circuit. The next thing I did was I put everything back together, and believe it or not, the car fired up first turn. No problems at all. I took it for a drive, no problems at all. I got it back, gave it a quick clean, left it for about 15 minutes to heat soak slightly, turned it over, again fired up first time, no problems at all. Which led me on to thinking about times that I've tried to start the car in the past and the starter motor has continued to run for a couple of seconds after cranking. It also led me into a bit of an internet wormhole, so to speak, checking out other people that have had the particular symptoms that I've experienced, and it transpires that there could be a problem with the ignition switch, which would make perfect sense. If it's trying to energise two things at once, that could cause us problems, or consequently if it's not trying to energise anything at all, that could also cause us problems. So it would actually sort of, you know, turn the car over, but it would not necessarily start the engine. So the next thing I'm going to do, which I'll be covering in a future video, is to replace the ignition switch. Also, what you can do as well is remove any keys that you have, any keyrings, etc. that you have on your ignition key, and just leave it with that one particular key for the ignition, so you don't have anything else on there. That can help because apparently it can be something to do with the wear in the switch. If you have too much weight on the particular key, it can cause the switch not to activate properly. I tend not to run many keys and other keyrings or anything like that on my keys, but you know, it can cause a problem for people that like to have many things and many keyrings on there. Anyway, as I say, in a future video we'll be covering replacement of the ignition switch, so hopefully we'll come to that and look forward to that. Hopefully that will resolve the problem long term. Anyway, if you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.